Coming up, new developments in the January 6th trials. And later, the UI celebrates queer history.
The Hawkeyes return for Minneapolis Media Day. I'll tell you more in sports.
Looks like winter is coming earlier than expected. Stay tuned for more in weather.
All that and more coming up on this Friday morning edition of DITV News. Don't go anywhere. DITV News starts right now. Good morning and thank you for tuning in live to DITV and KRUI 89.7 FM. I'm Ashley Weil. On Thursday, October 13th, the bipartisan House committee unanimously voted to subpoena former President Donald Trump after a year-and-a-half-long investigation on the January 6th attacks on the Capitol. This subpoena in Trump's case is a court-ordered request to show up in court. He will likely challenge the decision, which could result in a lengthy legal battle. Trump spoke out for the first time on Thursday, calling the committee a total bust after the decision gained further notice on social media. This final hearing declared the former president's plans to overturn the election as premeditated and planned. And with midterm elections just around the corner, Rebecca Conard and the League of Women Voters of Johnson County are making sure the public is ready to vote. The group hosted an event titled Ballot Basics Voting Matters this past Wednesday at the Iowa City Public Library. Guest speakers covered everything from absentee ballots, poll closures, and everything else the public needs to know before they head to the polls this November.
There's a lot at stake at this midterm election, and midterm elections are usually underperforming in terms of who turns out. And really, we're trying to drive as many people to the polls as possible.
Among the issues this year's ballot includes the highly divisive Second Amendment protecting the lawful possession of firearms.
This year, in particular, there are a lot of people who do not know that we are voting on a constitutional amendment, and one that is really important.
You can visit lwvjc.org to learn more about the group's mission and membership opportunities. And Roy Browning Jr. has pled guilty to the second-degree murder for killing his wife, a University of Iowa healthcare budget executive. Browning was originally charged with first-degree murder on October 28, 2019, after being accused of stabbing and killing his wife, Joellen Browning, on April 5, 2019, at their home in Iowa City. Through pleading guilty to murder in the second degree, Browning now has a maximum sentence of 50 years, but he is maintaining his innocence through the Alford plea. The sentencing will take place on December 2nd at 1:30 p.m. at the Johnson County Courthouse. For more details on the case, you can check out thedailyiowan.com. And the University of Iowa College of Liberal Arts and Sciences announced new ways for students to meet their foreign language requirements. The College of Liberal Arts and Sciences Dean Sarah Sanders said, quote, "There are significant inequities in access to and completion of language courses work in high schools," end quote. Students will now have 2 more additional options in addition to the current requirement. A new 3+1 pathway will allow students to complete 3 years of a single world language plus an applied language/culture course. The new 2+2 pathway will allow students to complete 2 years of 2 different foreign languages. The current requirement is 4 years of a single world language. This new foreign language requirement will go in effect summer of 2024. And on October 11th, the University of Iowa queer community celebrated National Coming Out Day, a landmark date within LGBTQIA+ History Month. Participants had the opportunity to pose with flags that represented them, along with other activities, including access to the QT closet, the creation of magazines reflecting their stories, and refreshments such as muffins and scones, as you can see. All month long in October, LGBTQ+ History Month is celebrated. Members of the Pride Alliance Center here at the UI expressed how sharing and remembering queer history is important to recognize for the community and honor the ongoing history of queer and transgender rights. Events continue at the Pride Alliance Center for the rest of the month, and you can find out more on their website and social media pages. And the University of Iowa Theater Department is taking the stage with a new variety of shows this season. The first main stage production started their run October 7th with a children's hour. The show features two teachers at an all-girls school who are accused of having a love affair and having to find their way through the scandal. The team behind the show, including director Ann Kreitman and set designer Bethany Kasparek, took out-of-the-box and creative liberties to make the show creative and unique to this specific production. The play will be performed at EC Mabee Theater at the University of Iowa Theater Building through October 15th. And the campaign to organize graduate students, or COGS, is in negotiations with the Iowa State Board of Regents for higher wages. According to COGS, reaching common ground with the Board of Regents has never been easy. In 2017, an anti-union law was passed, making negotiations even more difficult. The University of Iowa now ranks 10th out of 13 graduate student wages.
The laws here in Iowa are not in our favor, but the people are. So, we're coming together as workers, and Board of Regents, we're coming for you. So bring a real deal to the table.
COGS and the Board of Regents are set to finalize their contract in January of next year. And the biggest band event of the year is this weekend. The band extravaganza will take place at Extreme Arena in Coralville Sunday, October 16th at 4 p.m. The extravagant event will feature performances from the Hawkeye Marching Band featuring the Golden Girl, Drum Major, and Iowa Spirit Squads, and the dance team along with Herky, of course. The Iowa Symphony Band, City High School's Little Hawk Marching Band, and Johnson County Jazz Ensemble, Johnson County Landmark will be making an appearance as well. Tickets are $5 for students and $16 for general adult admission. And Netflix has recently released a new series titled Dahmer, based on the life of notorious serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer. The show received an overwhelming amount of reactions and views, including a lot of controversy to come its way. DITV reporters went out and asked UI students about their overall reactions.
It's pretty disturbing. I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, so I grew up in the area where all this happened. Like, my dad lived in that area when all this was happening.
Anytime a TV show has a really prominent actor like Evan Peters portraying someone who is actually a criminal in real life, just like how Zac Efron played Ted Bundy, it's really just makes it more personal for viewers our age.
Students also reacted to the potential exploitation of the victims involved.
I definitely think they should have asked and gotten consent from their family, because it's important to tell the victim stories, but you need permission before you can tell them.
Regardless, viewership on the Dahmer series continues to rise. This trend highlights the debate on the ethics of sharing true crime stories. And the weather seems to be cooling down, which means it could be a chilly weekend to stay inside and binge some Netflix. Angelica, can we expect some cool temperatures this weekend?
Thanks, Ashley. Yes, winter is coming sooner than we may expect. Outside Iowa City, it is currently 33 degrees. Today's high will reach 51 degrees, with lows falling to a quite chilly 31 degrees. Colder temperatures are arriving with sunny skies for the weekend, however. The lowest will be 31 for tonight, but that is nothing compared to what's next. The sun will continue looking forward, but there will be a significant drop in temperatures. Next week, we can expect highs to be in the upper 40s, with lows plunging below freezing point on Monday and Tuesday. The good news is the sunshine is here to stay. So if you are in Iowa City, before you go out and enjoy the view of leaves changing color and falling off the trees for the season, get those coats out because you will need them for the weekend and beyond. So Sam, I heard that Hawkeye basketball had a successful media day. Could you tell us more?
That's right, Angelica. Both the men's and women's basketball teams headlined Big Ten Media Day together for just the second time ever. DITV Sports Director Michael Merrick details what came out of Minneapolis.
Last season, the Iowa Hawkeyes men's basketball team caught fire near the end of the year. Unfortunately, they could not keep this momentum up as they were heading into the NCAA tournament, as they would fall to the Richmond Spiders in the first round. This season, they will have to replace All-American Keegan Murray. But Iowa knows that despite losing an All-American, their depth and versatility could take them to new heights.
We're not as big as we've been, but I think we're every bit as deep and versatile. I am really excited about the blend of youth and experience that we have. We have 3 starters returning.
Replacing Keegan Murray isn't as big of a concern as many may believe. The Hawkeyes have proven to reload instead of rebuild, and despite having a Murray on the roster again this season, those two are the furthest thing from the same person.
I kind of wish he could just be himself and not continually be asked that same question, because he's a completely different human being. They just look alike. You know, I mean, if Aaron White was replacing Keegan Murray, we wouldn't be asking these questions.
The Hawkeyes have a packed non-conference schedule this season, including a trip to Madison Square Garden to take on the Duke Blue Devils. If the Hawkeyes want to make the Sweet 16 for the first time under Fran McCaffrey, they're going to have to build on last year's success. Another team that needs to build off of last year's success is the Iowa women's team. Last season, the Hawkeyes brought back both the regular season and Big Ten tournament championships to Iowa City. This year, they are going to rely on the deep connection and experience between the staff and all 5 returning starters.
Honestly, when you really like each other, you trust each other, they trust us, and we trust them. And I know everybody says we're a family. I know that's so overused, but this really feels like that. It is like your family. It's your second family.
With a ton of continuity across the board, it can be hard to find new things to work on. But this year's Hawkeye squad has a key addition.
I think the biggest difference for us will possibly be Molly Davis. I think the addition of her was huge for our program. We didn't really have a true backup point guard last year. To me, she is the biggest difference maker on our team this year.
Iowa will begin their campaign for back-to-back titles on November 7th when they take on the Southern Jaguars in Carver Hawkeye Arena. From the Target Center in Minneapolis, Minnesota, I'm Michael Merrick, DITV Sports.
Thanks, Mike. And coming off of a tough loss at Illinois last weekend, Iowa football enters into their bye week. After only scoring 6 points from 2 field goals, this has left a lot of Hawkeye fans scratching their heads. DITV sports reporter Max von Griest talked to some Iowa students about how they truly feel about Iowa's offense.
Ahead of Week 7, Iowa's offense ranks dead last in total offense. And the other statistics, scoring offense, the Hawkeyes ranked 127th out of 131 total schools that could even be considered. I'm here at the Pentecrest on campus to ask what you Iowa students have to say about Iowa's struggling offense.
I think it's awful.
They're not very good. They're just not very good at any aspect. They can't run the ball, can't throw the ball.
There's so many more schools that are scoring more touchdowns than us.
While these Iowa students may be in disgust from their team's lackluster offense, they did bring up some interesting points on how Kirk Ferentz could improve his team.
I would ask the head coach, or maybe even above the head coach, do they know how to evaluate talent? Maybe a QB switch. Got to try something new because what they're doing now isn't working.
My heart goes out for the players, though. Let's fire that one guy.
And when these students were asked to describe the stagnant Iowa offense in 3 words or less, here's what they came up with.
Really, really bad. No good, lousy.
Hard to watch.
If the Hawkeyes want to stand a chance against their next opponent, second-ranked Ohio State, their offense will certainly need a change. From the University of Iowa Pentecrest, Max von Griest, DITV Sports.
Thanks, Max. 5th-ranked Iowa field hockey continues their conference road trip against number 21 Ohio State and number 10 Michigan this weekend. Iowa is currently in 3rd place in the Big Ten rankings and holds a record of 3-2. Both of the Hawks' losses have come during overtime against Maryland and Penn State. The Iowa State Buckeyes sit in 7th place with a record of 1-3, and as for Michigan, they are in 5th place in the conference and have a record of 2-2. This matchup marks the first time the Hawks and Wolverines have faced each other since Michigan defeated Iowa in the 2nd round of the Big Ten tournament last year. Iowa faces Ohio State today at 2 p.m. And that's all for sports. Back to you, Ashley.
Thanks, and thank you for tuning in to DITV News and KRUI 89.7 FM. Tune back in on Monday for more. I'm Ashley Weil.